So, Omri, I want to start this interview with an introduction of yours. Can you introduce yourself? Tell us how you got involved with the company. I think that you founded the company, if I'm not
Yeah,
mistaken.
you're absolutely right. So I founded this company way back 2006. So Adcore been around almost for 20 years now. We started as a bootstrap company, technology company based in Tel Aviv, Israel. Grew slowly but steadily, I would say, to become a publicly listed company in the Toronto Stock Exchange. We started with a venture exchange and then graduate to the major league, to TSX. We did this IPO process in 2019. So we've been listed for almost 6 years now. And I think that's in a nutshell, the story about, how we get started, the company, how the company
Yeah.
grew from a small bootstrap company, to the public company we are today.
So you started as a marketing agency, right?
Yeah, I mean, we've been a technology company, marketing technology company from the get-go, and we was always operating, I would say, two arms, So we have the marketing technology, and we have the marketing solution, which basically sit on top of the technology. So if clients say it's either do it yourself or do it for me type of a business model.
Uh-huh. Okay, okay. And now Adcore is developing its own technology, right? You are developing 9 apps. So could you talk a little about that?
So, like you rightly mentioned, under the what we call Adcore Marketing Cloud, we have to date 9 different application apps, and basically each app solve different, I would say, pain point or serve different need within, I would say, the marketing funnel. Starting from, let's say, account creation, what can sound very trivial and basic, to some of us may not be as trivial and basic, if you're based in a country that are not, I would say, Europe, US, like first world countries. So for these countries, they need some helps, whether it's transfer funds, whether it's establishing the account. And that's why we develop Media Blast, for example, which is one of the fastest growing application right now in our portfolio. So basically, Media Blast, you can see it as a platform that clients can log in. They have an e-wallet. They can top up money to this wallet, and then basically start opening accounts on Google, on Microsoft, for example, top up money to these accounts and basically start advertising. So again, it's solve a very specific need, but I would say it's critical need, because if you can't open the account, if you can't serve it, then you can't run any campaign, and then basically it's 0-0 for you, right?
Mm-hmm. And don't you have other apps that do the same thing?
Yeah, each app solve a different, I would say, need within the marketing funnel. I can give you another example of one of the oldest app, and probably the most, one of the most successful one is what we call Feeditor. Feeditor is
Mm-hmm.
a feed editing tool. So basically, a lot of campaigns nowadays started with a product feed. So basically, imagine your e-commerce site and you want to run Google Shopping campaign or Google PMAX campaign, which is the new breed of shopping campaign that Google introduced. And basically, this type of campaign are based on product feed. And product feed, basically, you can't really edit them, right? So it's
Mm-hmm.
like, usually it's like, and you need to do some data manipulation. And basically, so we sit in the middle between the raw data, the product feed data itself, and basically the data we want to push to, let's say, to Google Merchant Center. And basically we
Mm-hmm.
give you a tool that basically you can start editing and optimize this feed as if it was a Google sheet, for example. So
Mm-hmm.
basically very easy, very friendly, but much needed, and you can slice and dice, and like maybe filter out products that are underperforming. And you can do a lot of stuff that in the end of the day will either save you a lot of money, generate more money or more revenue for you, like
Mm-hmm.
increase the ROI. All of these stuff are critical, like mission critical if you're running this type of campaigns.
Got it. So your main app is Media Blast, right? How much revenue is Media Blast generating right now?
So the current ARR was standing, at around 2 million. Canadian, which is nice because bear in mind Media Blast. I mean, it's like 2 years old, a bit more maybe up. So basically, for this stage of an app, I think like we are doing okay, and we are growing. We still see like a strong demand running into this application, and we still have a lot of plan, of additional development we want to do in order to make this app even more successful, more stable, serve a larger audience of clients, for example.
So Media Blast is doing 2 million in 2 million Canadian in revenue.
Yeah, ARR, yeah.
And what about all the apps together? How much revenue are they all generating?
Yeah, so all the apps together, I would say like around maybe 3 million ARR, maybe a bit less.
Uh-huh.
That's the number.
And where do you plan to see this number, for example, in the end of this year or in the end of next year? Could we expect this number, right, to reach, for example, 10 million Canadian in revenue, all the apps together?
So it's a good question. I would answer it, by pieces. I would say, between now and the end of the year, there's not a lot that's going to go on, right? We have 2 months, so I think like there's no you're not going to see a big drama, in these 2 months. It's strong months usually historically, because of the holiday related spending, but I don't think like tech related or SaaS related. It's not enough time. Let's put it this way. But if you're talking about next year is supposed to be a different ball game, and I would say for few reasons. Media Blast was supposed to continue growing, right? We continue investing in the application. We continue building the team around it. Client acquisition is getting better. So we proceed that, revenue will grow in next year. Plus, we have additional applications that we've been developed for almost, I would say, a year and a half now, that's called Proposaly, that didn't start generated revenue yet. So this application is supposed to start generating revenue, I would say, next year, in the beginning of next year. But again, it's not going to be zero to zero in 1 year. So I would say 10 million, probably not, if I need to be realistic, unless, things will explode. But I think like if we can, let's say, double up the SaaS revenues that we did in 2025, and do double up 2026, that should be an amazing achievement, especially coming from not only one app that is basically now the superstar. Imagine that we have 2 apps, Proposaly is supposed to be even in theory on paper, even a stronger candidate, to be a successful application. That should be like a true killer app. It's more than an app, it's a platform that's a revolution to the way a company should do sales.
Omri, why are you so confident on Proposaly? Why, in your opinion, it is going to be a massive hit?
Yeah, I mean, still TBD. We need to take it with a grain of salt, like being confident in one thing and like talking the talk and walking the walk. It's 2 different things, right? We do have experience. We know what we need in order to build successful application. We did it, with Media Blast, for example. I would say a few things. It serves a much bigger target market than Media Blast. It's almost the TAM for Media Blast and the TAM for Proposaly. It's like you can't even compare it, right? This is one. B, with Proposaly.
Sorry, Omri. So the potential market for Proposaly is much bigger than Media Blast.
Yeah.
And Proposaly, could you talk about what does this app do? I know that, for example, if I'm a blue-collar worker and I want to prepare a presentation for one of my clients, I can use Proposaly. I think it's something like that.
That and much more. I would say that solve a very critical issue within the market. Basically, the same that the entire traditional sales process for businesses is basically broken. It sucks. Like imagine it doesn't matter if you're a blue collar company, you're maybe a roofer company from California, or if you're a white collar company doing, I don't know, tech from Tel Aviv, Israel. It doesn't matter. Like still in order to sales, like to make a sale offline, look at the process. Usually you're going to start with a presentation. Then probably if the potential client like your presentation, then we need to get a price quote. If they like the price quote and you agree on the numbers, they need to get an agreement. If they're okay with the agreement, they're ready to sign it, and then maybe they need to make an initial payment, and then maybe they need to get some update regarding the process. What I just described you now in any company on planet Earth involve 4 or 5 different platforms. So you do presentation with Google Sheet, I don't know, with Adobe, and then basically maybe you set a price quote, like with PDF, and then maybe you send an agreement with DocuSign, and you send a payment request maybe offline, and it's broken. It's not friendly to the company that needed to run this process. It's not friendly to the end users that need, now to sign agreement, to make the payment, to do all of that. Everything is broken. It's messy. It's not something that is, I would say, suitable to the 21st century, to the AI, era that we live in. And basically, Proposaly solve all of that. You get one link sent to your client that have like a dedicated client portal that basically within this portal, once you log in, you have everything. You have the presentation, you have the ability to view the price quote and maybe make an amendment, add add-ons and stuff like that. Sign the agreement, make the payment, get the project update, everything in one place, and everything, and also from the company size that send it, it's easy. It's easy to set up it's easy to share it with your client, and it's a game changer. So that's why I think like we build, and it solve a bigger issue within each company, like a cycle, in the end of the day, sales is everything. If you say, if you can improve sales, for company 20-30%, that's mean
you have a good product.
Yeah, that's mean a lot for every company on planet Earth, and it's worth it. That's why I think like we believe Proposaly can be a big hit.
So I just realized, because I've been thinking about Adcore as a marketing company. So its apps are made thinking about advertising. However, Proposaly goes way beyond just advertising, right?
100%. So Proposaly, it's a bit of a game changer, but I wouldn't say now we play, I don't know, basketball and we went to do ballet, right? So it's still a ball game, but it's a different ball game, I would say. So because always you say marketing and sales, right? In a sense, if you've been a marketing technology company, our goal from the get-go was to help companies, attract clients, generate the leads and stuff like that. But basically we stopped there. So we didn't do the process, especially when it's lead, generated to help them close the deal and make the sale. And then Proposaly come and say, you got the lead, let's make it a client now, and let's close the deal for you. Let's make it easy for you. Let's make it easy for your client. And so basically the way I see it, it's actually goes, it's a logical expansion of what Adcore is doing. So basically we started from marketing, and now we say, you know what, we're going to solve even a bigger issue for you, which is actually taking these leads and make them clients.
Great. I see why it can be bigger than Media Blast. I mean, so if Proposaly really worked, right? I forgot the word. It could be a really big app, right? I mean, eventually we could be talking about 10 million Canadian in revenue, 20 million in revenue.
100%. It's a different beast. It was built to be a giant. It wasn't built to be just another app in our application book. Proposaly was built to be a giant, wasn't built to be another, I would say, micro app or small app, And also the amount of code and investments that we put in this application is unparalleled to all the rest of the apps. So we have 9 apps, not including Proposaly, or including Proposaly. You took all the codes, that we put in all these apps. Proposaly already have more code put into it than all the apps together. So it's massive, and it's going to grow even bigger, obviously, as we move along, right? Every day there's new feature coming to the apps. Every day there's new things that we solve, and the app is getting better by the day.
Got it. And how much have you invested on building all these apps?
I can't give you like a number. I would say that, and obviously we are a public listed company, so just like the R&D portion, you can see it. So I would say Canadian dollar, let's say it's more than 1 million Canadian investment, yearly. But bear in mind that some of these some of these expenses are delayed, right? So you don't see all these expenses. But I would say in general, I would say around 1 million USD per year, at least investment, just like in pure development.
So that means that if Adcore's enterprise value stands at $4 million American dollars, if you spend 1 million per year developing these apps, and you've been developing these apps for like, I believe 3 years, 4 years, so you would be paying for the company now what it actually took for you to build these apps, right?
Something like that.
Something like that.
Yeah, but that's why we believe that the company is undervalued and basically the market misread what the company is all about. You understand what I'm saying?
You are the biggest shareholder of this company, right? You hold 70%,
Almost
basically.
a bit less, yeah.
So you are very close to showing operating profit. The second half of the year usually tends to be
Right.
stronger. Do you see Adcore showing operating and net profit in the second half of the year? I mean, how close are you to breaking even and from being
Yeah.
positive?
So it's a fair question. I would say, yeah, traditionally you're right. Second part of the year should always be better than the first part of the year, especially Q4, which is, I would say, the biggest quarter for
Uh-huh.
us, in online marketing or advertising in general. And yeah, like we should be, let's say H2, we should be profitable. That almost goes without saying as far as I'm concerned. Having said that, bear in mind that Adcore is a bit of a different, beast, because from one end, yeah, we still like, have, let's say, what generate revenue, we're doing, like positive cash flow and everything. But from the other end, we operate as a startup, right? We invest a lot in technology, and basically we're still building the company and the company product line. So I think like when you look at Adcore, I would say at least for now, if we are around break even, that should be good numbers for the company, because we self-maintain, we continue investing, in the product line and basically build for the future, and that's the most important thing. Like investors should ask one thing: if this company is investing in its own future, if it's building a good product line, and how this product line going to look like, that's the most important question to ask right now. And as long as we're around break even, we should be okay. You shouldn't care about it too much, and then once we're going to generate revenue, more revenue coming for technology, we come with better margin and better, stuff like that, then numbers should fix themselves. You understand what I'm saying? Numbers
Yeah,
shouldn't
yeah.
become an issue anymore, and that's I think the way we see it. So, but if everything would stay flat, and there was no investment in technology, there was no new product line, and nothing was coming, the company wasn't investing in its own future, then I would say start to be worried, as an investor, what's going on. But that's definitely not the case. Companies incubating right now in order to build a bright future, and that's the most important thing. We don't stand still. We invest a lot in order to to become a big successful company, and that's, I think, what should get the investor excited.
Okay, great. Also, another question. Usually, when I talk about Adcore, if I only consider your market cap $10 million, I think that's already cheap. However, if you factor in the cash, the net cash you have in your balance sheet, you get to $4 million only. And usually, when I talk about this number, $4 million in enterprise value, people are like, yeah, but what if the company starts burning cash, a lot of cash, and this cash on the balance sheet disappears? I mean, how should I think about that? You probably still have some investments to do. Do you see this company starting burning cash, burning a lot of cash to develop the apps? Can you give us some color about that?
Yeah, I would give you like a straightforward answer. I would say a few things. Adcore started not as a public company. It started as a bootstrap company. Bootstrap company have a different DNA, like we know how to reserve cash. We know how to operate slim. We know what we are doing. So it's not like, okay, we raise a lot of money, we're going to burn it in 2 years and then go to the markets again or stuff like that. So this is one. So we know what we are doing. B, we've been doing it for a long time. So we know how to reserve cash. We know how to operate, even if it's around break even, We're not going to be in a situation that we just burning cash and then we need to go to the market and beg for more money. That's not going to be the case. So we know what we are doing. We are responsible. We're not going to invest more than what we can digest, and I think like that's why we also like and the flip side, the negative side that we're going slowly, more slow. If now we have more money and we can just go for it all out, But I say like again, so you pay in time, but at least you get the currency of your more stable, you're more secure, and your future is, protected, I would say. So I think that would be my answer. We're not going to take this company into situations that we're going to run out of, cash or anything like that. We know what we are doing. We've been doing it for a long time. We're very diverse. We have different revenue stream. We are located all around the globe. Even if one market is getting soft of us, we still have like other markets that can basically, take precedent, and be more, contribute more revenue, and stuff like that. So I think like in that regard, I would say, yeah, that's not something that's going to happen, and the company is well aware of how it's need to maintain,
Okay, great. You just mentioned geographically diversification. Can you talk a little about that? In what regions is Adcore present? What's your biggest region in terms of revenue, etc.?
Good question. So I would say the company started in Tel Aviv, Israel, so basically EMEA region, and that's where we historically started first. So we started in Tel Aviv, then grow to Europe, and then basically that's what the main markets for the company. After that, we started an operation in Australia, so that's APAC already, and then APAC grew really good, like the APAC activity grew really good. We opened 2 more offices, one in Hong Kong and one in Shanghai. So basically now in APAC region itself, we have 3 offices, one in Australia, in Melbourne, one in Hong Kong, and one in Shanghai. And basically to date, APAC is the biggest market in terms of revenue. So that's market number 1. Second market, I would say it's EMEA, and third market, it's North America. North America have massive potential, but that's the market we started last, so we entered last, so basically we still have gap in the way we need to develop our revenue generation from this specific region.
How are you growing? How do you approach clients? How do clients get to use your app?
That's a good question. I would say it's an hybrid approach, right? So I would say a lot of inbound activity. We're taking a zip from our own medicine, running marketing campaign, and have a lot of inbound activity, inbound leads, and then we do some follow-ups, with the salespeople and basically close clients. I would say that's one revenue stream. We also have a team of SDRs that doing outreach for more strategic clients, so basically outreach and then starting the conversations, with them as well. And also a lot of referrals. Adcore been around. We have a successful product line, successful, teams that give like great solutions. And basically clients refer other clients to us as well. So I would say between inbound outreach, with an SDR, with a team of SDRs, and basically client referrals, I would say that's the main streams that basically require clients through them.
So you've been growing mainly through cross-selling, right? You could say that.
No, not necessarily, to be honest. I think cross-selling, actually, we can do better job cross-selling our different, product and solutions than what we are doing today. So I think like cross-selling wasn't the biggest revenue stream. It's more like pure client acquisition, and again, inbound outreach, outbound, and some client referrals as well.
And how do you see these regions developing? Do you see APAC growing a lot more? Do you see all regions growing a lot more?
Yeah, so it's a good question. I'd say like there's always ups and downs. I can give you a few examples, right? In the APAC region, for example, post-COVID, we saw a massive decline. It spiked in COVID and then it went down, and it took 1 year to recover, and now it's peaking again. So that's APAC. EMEA, we saw some weakness last year, related maybe to geographical tension that was around this area and stuff like that. Now EMEA is growing as well, so we see, and then North America, now we see weakness this year, maybe it's related to tariffs and other issues that are, happening in this specific region. So I think like we see all the time different regions behave differently, like in different period of time, but usually we know like it's periodically, like even if it's go down, it will pick up again, like so usually the down term is 1 year, and then it's recover. So for the long term, if you look at the long-term graph, all markets are growing, and that's the most important thing. Even if you have like 1 year specifically, let's say this year, North America revenue is going down actually, but it's fine because APAC is picking up. EMEA is picking up,
Adcore also just announced a new client, a hockey stickman, right?
That's true.
How big is this client? What does this client represent? Is this a client for your technology division or for your services division?
Yeah, it's more for the services division, but I would say always usually it's hybrid, right? So we have some technology component to the deals, let's say apps like Feeditor and other apps that we will use in order to manage this client, and obviously team that will help manage the campaigns for them. And I say this is actually a good example of good e-commerce clients that we recently acquired. So the base in Canada, but actually serving also the US. So they have the US operational activity, they have the Canadian activity, and they are growing. And they need a company like Adcore to help them grow, like both sides of the border, but also growing what they're used to do. So if they do only performance marketing, Adcore can help them do full funnel activity as well, AI videos that we can generate for them. So there's a lot of stuff that Adcore can bring to the table that can help you to take the next step and become, even bigger than what they are today.
So you recently competed for Best Marketing Agency in Google, right?
We don't have a result yet, but I think one of the team members in Australia just got announced that basically the campaign and showcase that she did for one of our flag clients in Australia got nominated and was selected as the best case study. She gonna be flying to to Mountain View, to Google headquarters, and that was a big thing. You can see it on the company's social media. We did some excited post about it.
So in your view, why is the market evaluating Adcore at such low valuation levels?
Again, the market, I think like these few things. The market for small cap companies in Canada is broken. It wasn't fixed itself, since the downturns that we saw 2022 or stuff like that. So in a sense, there was a downturn and there's no upturn, yet. So I think like the market in Canada for small cap is a bit broken, generally saying. It's not an Adcore thing, it's more a market thing. This is one. B, Adcore is a bit of a different beast because, again, it's like a company that already generated revenue and we have number to show, but we also operated startup and invest heavily in our future, and the market don't really realize. It's difficult for the market to realize what's going on. So I think like that's maybe the mix. So I would say Adcore it's still in a sense a bet, but I would say a sure bet because in the current pricing, you can't really go wrong, to be honest. You understand what I'm saying? So even if we didn't invest $1 in technology in the future of the company, still the company should worth 3 times more at least than what she's trading today. So I think like you can get the company cheap for what it's making today, plus get a big dividend if everything gonna play the way the company wanted to play, with Proposaly and the other products that we are developing. So I think like you should look at it as a smart investment today and can be massive investment in the future if everything gonna play the way we expect it to play.
Do you have any final words, final considerations, something you would like to add?
No, I think like I enjoy speaking with you, like you are asking right question and interesting questions. So it was a pleasure, having this interview and I always will be pleasure to come again, and speak about, if there's new development in the company or stuff like that. Think like again, stay tuned to what Adcore have to present. Keep a close eye on the technology side. If there's new announcement regarding technology, regarding product line, think that should make you excited because that's the future of Adcore. And that's basically represent the very best of what we can do. So I think that would be my best tip for investor. Keep a close eye of, like technology related announcement and basically see that things are going in the right direction. And it's like product to show off this technology, this AI that's been implemented. That's the most important stuff.
So Omri and Nick, thank you so much, and see you next time.